Morning, all. All right, so we have 8 games tonight in the NHL. 4 of them starting at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. One a half an hour after that, another one a half an hour after that, and then there's the West Coast starts 2 hours past that. So at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, we got the Buffalo Sabres and the Ottawa Senators for the second time this season out of 3 times they will meet. On January 18th, Buffalo won this matchup 3-1. The final meeting will be on February 17th. So for the Buffalo Sabres, they're 13, 21, and 7 over their last 10. They're 3, 5, and 2. They did win their last game. Away from home, they are 6, 9, and 4. Their points percentage is a solid 402. And I say solid because that's kind of better than might have been expected before the season started. On the Ottawa side, they are 12, 20, and 3. Over their last 10, they are 4, 4, and 2. They did win their last game as well. At home, they are 5 and 10, so that's not great. And their points percentage being 386 is below what might have been expected from them before the season started. So we'll see who wins that one. At 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific, the Dallas Stars, who continue to win. And it's not like they're convincing, but they're winning. So they're 21, 16, and 2. They have won 3 in a row. They're 6 and 4 in their last 10. And so this is the end of the road trip, and it's a back-to-back. So we'll see how things work out, because both teams, it's a back-to-back, right? So away from home, Dallas is 7, 12, and 1. They have a 564 points percentage, which is solid. And they're in against the New Jersey Devils, who are 15, 20, and 5 overall over their last 10. They are 5 and 5. They did lose their last game. At home, they are 10, 9, and 3. Their points percentage of 438, below what their fans may have wanted, below what a lot of us expected. And so we'll see if that evens out a little bit more in the second half of the season. And as for Dallas, their points percentage, it's about right about where I think may have been expected. The second meeting between these teams will be on April 9th. 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific start time between Arizona and Pittsburgh. Arizona's 10, 26, and 4. Over their last 10, they are 4, 5, and 1. They have lost 2 in a row. It's been a rough road trip for them so far. They're 5, 13, and 3 over their away record. So, yeah, their points percentage of 300, it's right about where might have been expected before the season started. Maybe even a little better than expected, right? Pittsburgh, 26, 10, and 5 over their last 10. They're 8 and 2. They've won 5 in a row. The discussion over who they've played and what the scores have been and all this will continue with Pittsburgh, but they're winning the games on the schedule. So, at home, they're 12, 5, and 2. Their points percentage of 695 is well above, I think, what anybody might have expected for them this year. I don't know if they can keep that up, but 695 is an excellent points percentage. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start time between Vegas and Carolina. So Vegas on the second half of a back-to-back as well. November 16th, these teams met in Vegas. Carolina won that game 4-2. So for Vegas, they're 25, 15, and 2 over their last 10. They're 5, 3, and 2. They've won 2 in a row, including last night over Washington. Away from home, they're 12 and 5. Their points percentage is 619. Leads the division, but wouldn't lead the others, and so it feels like things are potentially starting to get better for Vegas, and that points percentage should as well. Carolina, though, will not be an easy task. They're 27, 9, and 2 overall. Over their last 10, they're 7, 2, and 1. They did lose their last game, which was against New Jersey. At home, they're 13, 4, and 1. Their points percentage is 737, which seems ridiculous, and I don't know how much they're going to be able to keep that up, but we're here. We're about halfway through the season, so we'll see. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific start time for the game between Philadelphia and the Islanders. These teams have already met twice this month. January 17th, the Islanders won this meeting 4-1. January 18th, the Islanders won in a shootout 4-3. So we'll see how things go tonight. Philadelphia's lost their last 56 games in a row. It slipped by us that they've lost that many. They're 13, 21, and 8 overall over their last 10. They're 0, 8, and 2. They've lost 3 in a row in regulation out of all the losses they've had, including a couple tacked on them by the Islanders. Away from home, they're 7, 11, and 4. Their points percentage at 405. That is nowhere near what we might have expected or hoped for Philadelphia. So the Islanders, on the other hand, 14, 14, and 6 over their last 10. They're 7, 2, and 1. They did lose their last game against Toronto, looking to bounce back from that. At home, they're 7, 7, and 3. So they're 500 overall. They're 500 at home. Their records are identical at home and on the road. Islanders need to to overcome all this and start stringing some wins together. So a win over the Flyers, which would seem doable, it's right there for the taking for them to put them back above 500. 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific start time between Florida and the Winnipeg Jets. Florida 28-9-5. Over their last 10, they're 7-2-1. They did lose their last game. They're 7-6-5 away from home. And their points percentage at 726, the best on the board. That's not Carolina. So we'll see, how this road trip goes for them now that they're in Winnipeg. Winnipeg's coming home off of a long road trip, so it might be a tough slog for them. Winnipeg is 17-14-7 over their last 10. They're 4-4-2. They did have a loss in extra time in their last game. But again, both the games against Pittsburgh and Boston have to feel like 2 points that were lost, where they could have won those games and those games slipped away from them. So they need to avoid that against a team that might be kind of ticked off about having just lost to Seattle. So the next meeting between these teams will be April 15th in Florida. And so we'll see how things go tonight. But Florida's kind of due for one of those 6 or 7 goal games. We'll see whether or not Winnipeg has a really strong game at home. Because again, Dallas is doing quite well. Winnipeg has not been able to make up ground on those playoff spots that are being chased by Dallas. Calgary right now has that wild card spot. There's the potential that Winnipeg ends up being too far out of it within the next few weeks if things don't turn around. Then at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific with the Edmonton Oilers in against Vancouver. The Oilers haven't beaten Vancouver by a lot, but they've been able to beat Vancouver this year in a shootout on October 13th, 3-2. And October 30th, the Oilers beat Vancouver 2-1. So this is the third of 4 meetings. They will meet again on April 29th, which is, at this point, still the final date of the NHL's regular season. The Oilers are 19-16-2 overall over their last 10, though. They're 3-5-2. They did win their last game over Calgary. Away from home, they're 8-8-2. Their points percentage is .541. It has fallen off. They are below Dallas. They are barely above the Winnipeg Jets in that term, in terms of that part of their record. Vancouver's 18-19-4. They're 4-4-2 in their last 10. They lost their last game against St. Louis, so they're looking to bounce back. At home, they're 8-8-2. Their points percentage is .488. I'm not overly concerned because, if Vancouver doesn't make the playoffs, cool, they get another lottery pick. But I still see this division as kind of being wide open. And so for Vancouver, if they can get a win tonight, maybe get things rolling again. And reports are Demko may very well be playing tonight, so that could help, but we'll see. 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific start time for the final game of the night we shall discuss, Nashville and Seattle. Seattle got their first road win in their history on October 14th in Nashville, 4-3. So Nashville may very well remember that. This is the second of 3 meetings. They will meet again on March 2nd. The Nashville Predators, 26-14-3 over their last 10. They're 6-3-1. They have won 2 in a row. Away from home, they're 13-7-3. Their points percentage at .640, very good. Seattle, on the other hand, 13-24-4 overall. Over Seattle's last 10 games, they're 3-7. Their last game was that win over Florida, so we'll see if they can beat Nashville. They play pretty well. The hockey that Seattle plays, they do play pretty well from game to game. There's either the defensive lapses that have cost them, or just the goaltending hasn't been quite up to standard. But in home, they're 9-13-2, which is not great, but it's not awful, I guess. And their points percentage at .366, lower than many might have expected or hoped for. But I still think there's the potential there for Seattle to have a decent second half, at least play 500 hockey through the second half of the season. I think the potential's there. And again, it's about the goaltending, which has gotten better lately, continuing to improve, and their defense continuing to improve as well and making fewer mistakes out there. So there you go. 8 games tonight. Let me know your winners in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.